Ann Coulter, of course, best-selling author and great columnist. You can go to anncoulter.com. You can get everything there. Her latest book, we've never lived in a time like this, but it's the best book she's ever written. It's called Resistance is Futile. You should read this book. It's #1 bestseller, Ann Coulter's latest book. Ann Coulter, how are you?
Pretty good. How are you, Mark Simone?
Very good. I'm afraid to ask, but what did you think of last night?
I thought it was pretty good.
Oh, okay.
The delivery was a little odd. It reminds me of actually every single response to the State of the Union I've ever seen. Politicians seem to have trouble sitting in a room and looking directly at a camera. Trump was definitely helped by being followed by those two cadavers, Schumer and Pelosi.
That was frightening looking.
Yeah, I know. But there are a lot of terrific memes on Twitter. So we got that out of it. Before I get to the frightening Schumer and Pelosi, he didn't say anything stupid, and he said a lot of good stuff. So that was great. But
I don't know. I was watching afterwards Lester Holt and Chuck Todd, and they said dubious claims.
It's very strange. I feel like I'm living in Orwell's 1984. You can't even respond to all of the lies being told by the media now. The illegal immigration is down, they say. Drugs, no, they only come through port of entry. It's just one thing. Oh, there is no crisis. It's a fact there's no crisis. The polls show Americans don't want a wall. Walls don't work. The lies are coming in such profusion based on nothing. They allow no one on their air to contradict them. It's very strange. I think all you can do is advise people, despite my usual enjoyment of watching MSNBC, is to disregard anything the media says about immigration. As I've always said, there is nothing they will fight like banshees over so much as to keep dumping the third world on America and undercutting working class wages, sucking up social services, all of which Trump mentioned. It was great. It was great. The only thing I would have talked a little more about is, in fact, the undercutting of working class wages. That came up early in the speech, how illegal aliens are harming our own people, particularly. And, this is something else I heard. I forget what her name is. But a woman on CNN last night saying, no, studies have shown illegal immigration does not hurt African Americans.
Well,
Carol Swain, this professor at University of Tennessee, black professor, by the way, has been studying this for years. She's an economist. She's written books about how both legal and illegal immigration, how it is just wiping out not so much the black lower class, but black working class, trying to get a foothold in the American dream. There's nothing. What's his name? George Borjas, the Harvard professor who's written about the effect of both immigration and illegal immigration on wages. Who does it hurt? It's the working class, and the benefit is taken by the rich. The studies are overwhelming on this, but no, we just have commentators with no contradiction. Everyone just keeps repeating the same lies. So all I can say is read Adios America and do not believe anything said by the media about immigration.
I wish the president had done some visual things. Like behind him, he should have put up a quote from the head of the Border Patrol saying walls absolutely work. And then he should have put up, there's a guy named Mark Morgan. He was Obama's head of the Border Patrol, and he has been saying walls absolutely do work. Those two quotes, he should have put them up in big, big letters on the screen.
Yeah, actually, some visual aids would have been great, and maybe he would have been a little peppier if he had been able to. But I liked that his tone wasn't jokey, it wasn't rally-like, so he avoided a lot of pitfalls. I will give him that. I see absolutely no point in him going to the border. That's just stupid. That's when politics took a turn from facts, statistics, and numbers into feelings. No, you don't need to walk along the border. We have facts, and he has more facts at his disposal as President of the United States. What I'd like him to do is direct his Department of Justice. They have that vast Bureau of Justice statistics. We still don't know how many immigrants are in prison in America. How many are legal? How many illegal? What are they in prison for? How many times were they deported before getting caught? That sort of thing. Why don't we know that? There's a whole chapter in my book, Adios America, which Donald Trump read, about what how we can't say. I mean, there's a lot of tertiary information, but we don't know anything about immigrants and crime in the United States, not official statistics from our government. So that's something else you will hear over and over again. Oh, no, immigrants commit less crime than Native Americans. Now, I've looked into you have to trace it back, every study that allegedly shows that, and it's absolute nonsense. The two studies that get all the headlines compared immigrant crime to the crime of convicted felon Americans.
So
seriously, that's what the comparison was. So as long as we can get the headline, as long as we can lie about this, but I notice only one side in this debate is asking for the numbers, because you can go around state by state, city by city, look at the most wanted list, and you will not find an American name there. All heavily, Mexican and Latin American cartel members. So he got to all that. No point in going to the border. And as you may have noticed on Twitter, I'm insisting that as a gesture of friendship, President Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel come and address Congress and tell them our wall works great.
Hey, Ann Coulter, I forgot to ask you. Joe Biden the other day, that comment where he said, the blonde conservative woman.
Well, the insider information I can give you that makes this particularly funny is, I worked on the Senate Judiciary Committee. I dated one of Biden's staffers for a long time.
Oh.
He knows who I am. This is, well, A, he's senile, but B, it's consistent with my theory that the reason the media keeps attributing Trump deciding to actually, keep his campaign promise to Fox News host, is that they think it's more embarrassing to be a Fox News host than to be a multiple best-selling author.
Yeah. So, that's an old trick, too. Like if you're on the air against somebody else, you pretend you don't know their name and you never mention it. So I think that's what Biden was attempting to do.
Or he's senile.
Yeah, a little of both, probably. So, did you notice that at the border right now, obviously it's a big issue. This is the one time you watch the networks, they never seem to be quoting any polls. Every issue they put up polls on the screen all the time. Here's the one where they never have any polls to show you. I wonder why.
Well, that's interesting. I'm surprised by that because, as with everything involving immigration, just constant legerdemain, they've designed all sorts of push polls on the immigration issue. In fact, I have a chapter on that in Adios America, how every poll on immigration is BS. There are a lot of ways they lie about them. They'll start the question with usually to push amnesty. So it'll be, if hardworking illegal aliens, well, of course they won't say that, undocumented
migrants,
citizens here through no fault of their own have to jump through lots and lots of hoops and pay back taxes and speak English and pass citizenship tests and have marks for good character, then would you be okay with allowing some of them to live here legally? Well, okay, they're never, ever, ever going to pay back taxes. Illegal aliens don't make enough to need to pay taxes. To the contrary, we will be paying each illegal alien tens of thousands of dollars in the earned income tax credit. Yeah. They'll be getting money back from us. In any event, they're very good at these push polls, and I would say any poll that asks about illegal immigrants themselves as opposed to immigration, more or less.
Well, apparently, even in the rigged push polls, it's still 50-50, so that's why the networks are not quoting any polls now when it comes to this stuff. I hate to say
the poll was the 2016 election. The poll was the 3 times Congress has tried to push an amnesty in the last decade. Every time Congress has tried to sneak an amnesty through in the dead of night with both conservative and liberal media, usually on the side of amnesty. And somehow, all three times, the American people would get wind of what was happening, shut down the congressional switchboards, and the amnesty was no more. I mean, it's destroyed career after career after career. Of the 14 Republicans who voted for Marco Rubio's amnesty, and by the way, Rubio himself would be out, but for our need for a Republican vote in the Senate. Of the 14 Republicans who voted for that insane Rubio amnesty for dreamers, about half of them are out of office now, either because they lost or they were headed for a loss, like Corker and Flake, and you know, better part of valor. I think I won't run again.
Yeah, I hate to say it, we're out of time, but here's what you should do: get Ann Coulter's latest book, "Resistance is Futile." It's her best book. Also, get a book from a while back. This is the best book on this whole issue. Adios America, on the wall, the border, everything. President Trump has read it. He said it was the best book. So get the Adios America and Resistance is Futile, 2 books from Ann Coulter. Get those books and go to AnnCoulter.com and make sure you...
Could I say one other thing?
Yeah.
Also, call Congress and tell them to fund the wall. 202-224-3121.
Actually, go to Ann Coulter's Twitter. You got the number up there, right?
Yes, I do.
Go to her Twitter. You can get the number. Ann Coulter, thanks for being with us.
Good to talk to you, Mark. Bye-bye.
All right, take care.